The other thing that people who are lonely are struggling with, of course, is like the veil of forgetting, right? So that whole feeling of like disconnection came in through when you came down through the veil of forgetting that you and I have talked about before. Or when you drop through that veil, it's a layer of frequency, like it's a frequency layer, basically, a vibrational layer that you come through when you come through to this consciousness level, where you basically agree, in order to become part of the embodiment, that you are infinite, indestructible consciousness. Now you and I have talked about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
But in that forgetting, it can feel very real, like this sense. It's like one of the biggest lies, right, that we tell ourselves is that we are separate. Because we're not. We can't be. We're intrinsically part of everything. But that's the underpinning of the lonely. Right?
Yeah, you're right. There's no way you could be lonely if you knew that everything's connected.
Yeah.
Right?
And so if you can remember your oneness, which is hard to do when you're feeling lonely, quite honestly, because it feels terrible, right? You feel isolated, you feel terrible, and you're low in the frequency bandwidth that is you. So for those of you who don't know what your frequency bandwidth is, go check out the episode called the frequency, or mastering your frequency bandwidth, or something like this.
Around frequency.
And we'll put the episode on the, you'll see it in on your screen if you're watching this by video. So, but anyway, there is one just on mastering your frequency bandwidth. So watch that. But what happens is when your resonance is really low because you're in loneliness, and you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling sad, or you're feeling self-pity, or whatever it is you're feeling, because we can feel sorry for ourselves. It's not hard, right? To go into, I mean, how easy is it? We've all been here, right? Where you're in loneliness and you go into victim or self-pity, right?
Where you're like, big one,
right? Where you're just like, like no one loves me, no one, I'm never good enough for anyone, whatever, that whole thing.
Or I give and nobody notices me.
And no one cares, and, right, okay, all that sort of stuff. What happens then is you're dropping lower and lower in your frequency bandwidth. Okay, you're just going lower, 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 lower. And when you get to the very bottom of your frequency bandwidth, it's really hard to pull yourself back up, to get your frequency.
Yeah, it's heavy, right? There's density.
Yeah, the heaviness. And then that's also a place where your distortions can become louder to you. Right? Because you're not resonating high enough for you to have the space that you did, which in that example that you gave, which is like, no, this is not now, or like, that's not true, or whatever it is you told yourself, because you have to be resonating high enough in your frequency to have that perspective.